Today is the day that we pull the engine out of the red car. Now this, for me and for the master mechanic, is gonna be really weird because it's been together for over 20 years like this. Just with all the backstory to it that we talked about in this video, which you guys need to go check out.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it!
So come on, let's check it out. Start taking it apart.
So we're gonna be pulling the engine and tranny out of this thing today. Good old 62 Biscayne, which means we gotta pull the exhaust. We're doing a couple different things. We're gonna get rid of the trash that we're not gonna use. So all this braided lines all gonna get thrown away. The fuels and stuff nowadays, it just deteriorates it and it's been sitting so long. So we're gonna go through what we're not gonna use, like these plug wires. Looks like a hamster or something got up here, a little hungry, started chewing on them. Go through it, trash we're not using. I already took the hoses off, drained the coolant, trashed the flexi hoses. I'm not a big fan of flexi hoses, and this radiator's leaking, so we're gonna do something about a radiator. It's got a coolant leak in it, so we're gonna pull it out. Like we said before, we're gonna use this engine, not the blower, just a long block in another car. So we're gonna go through the engine once we get it out and see what we gotta do to get it set up for the next car. So, like I said, this regulator's leaking over here. We gotta see if it's cracked or what's going on with it, but more than likely, the price of that regulator, we're just gonna throw in the trash. It's not worth trying to refurbish or do anything with. And I might have mentioned it before, some of this stuff is gonna be staying with the car, like the alternator is gonna be staying with it. It's already wired, everything's good over here, the way it is. So what I'm gonna do is, when I put the small block in it, I'm just gonna run a short water pump, so the alternator will be right here like an old school, like it normally would be. And then I'm gonna leave this breather tank on this side. That's not in the way of anything, and I'm just gonna run this breather tank to the valve cover, and then the other side will have the PCV valve. So some stuff's gonna stay, some stuff's gonna go. We're just gonna go through the whole thing. Obviously this one over here has gotta come out because this is where the battery's gonna go now. It's getting powder coated, and we got the hood release getting powder coated, and we're gonna take the pins out of it, the hood pins. We're not using pins. We're gonna get a flat stock hood. Other stuff's getting repurposed in the next one that we're dying to show. We gotta get the thing out. We got so many parts for it that we're gonna show it here pretty quick. Let me get started on this thing. I'm gonna get the scoop out of here. We're gonna get stripping it down.
Now time for the weirdest part of all. We're gonna take the blower off of it now. So this is how we're gonna do it. Tell him, Master Mechanic.
So the blower probably weighs about 100 pounds or so. So I'm just gonna use the engine lift plate that goes on the carburetor. And I'm gonna put it on where the front carburetor would be, and then put it in the back hole and kind of balance it. And we're gonna use a cherry picker so we don't
strain ourselves.
Don't kill ourselves. It's just like way in there and awkward. So.
Do you remember putting this in there?
I had to climb up in here, and there's like a handoff. My dad kind of got it up here, then I grabbed it and we set it on. It was a little weird. It's kind of awkward. Now we just gotta wait for old Slowpoke Rodriguez over here. So as you can see, we got the blower pulled off. It's definitely a lot easier with a cherry picker. That's definitely the way to go. We got the valve covers off. We had to pull the intake off in the car to get the driver's side valve cover off because of the master cylinder. It's a tight fit for sure. But we got it out. So we got both the valve covers off. Here's the other guy. Someone got crazy with your buzzy wheel. Probably my dad. I don't want to mention any names, but it's a no. No. Definitely these plug wires are trash. You can see that he had a problem with the melting the boot all up. So he just threw the little insulators over it, thinking he was gonna fix it.
Called it a day, man.
Called it a day, it runs. He had a hard time putting his headers in. Headers had a rough life. Some of this stuff's gonna get trashed, like this blower belt. I don't know if some got caught in the cog or what. Right here, you got a little chewed up, but it's pretty old. This is original belt with the whole blower set up, so we're gonna throw this away. Get one later down the road when the blower finds its next home. And you can see we got a new mini starter on it. We're gonna reuse that on the engine. The carburetors are gonna get put away. The radiator, like I said, is leaking, so we're gonna get a good old Ron Davis for this bad boy. Can't have my sister alongside the road, overheating and having coolant leaks, so we gotta fix that. The other header's still in the car. I can't get it out. You can see that the back tubes on these headers, they slip in the back here, and they still kind of leak a little bit. You get the sooty, the moisture coming out of it. The driver's side, I can't quite get out without taking the oil filter everything off, so I'm just gonna wait till I lift it up a little bit, and then it'll come right out. So you can see we got the cherry picker all set up. We're ready to pull this bad boy. Everything's disconnected.
Does it feel weird to you?
It's definitely a little interesting working on the car without my dad around. He always, you know, you couldn't do anything either. He'd be sitting in his chair. We got his, where's his chair at? We got his chair right here. We got his chair. Got, you know, of course, you got the Ziegler Racing sticker. But he'd be sitting right behind me like this, you know, asking me if I'm getting anything accomplished or anything every time. But yeah, it's definitely interesting working on it, doing whatever, and nobody said anything to me, nobody yelling at me. So it's interesting. My sister's gonna enjoy the car, it's not gonna go anywhere, so that's really cool. And we're gonna put this engine to proper use. I think it's got some problems. I don't know why it's so nasty inside.
It's very black.
Yeah, I don't know if there's some sort of coating in there or what's going on. It looks horrible though. We'll get it apart here in a minute and see what else we need to do. But let's get it pulled out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. The engine is out of the red car. Crazy. So the master mechanic is tearing apart the engine right now. And like we said in the previous video, this was more of like a looking car, more of a show. It wasn't so much for performance. It was more like, oh, wow, that thing's blown, it's loud, it's red, look at that car. You know, that's kind of how it was built. So come on over to the master mechanic and look at the bottom end of this engine. It's not very exciting.
And we got a couple not so exciting things so far. Let me get this out of the way here real quick. So the first thing we found off the bat is one of the rollers on the rocker arm has got some damage going on there all the way around it. So that's the first thing. And then after getting the intake off and getting on the stand here, I can see that this camshaft here on this lobe here is getting all eat to death. Oh yeah, and that roller is all cockeyed. So we got a problem going on over on this side. It's like number one. Let's pull this lifter out here. Oh, that lifter is gone. I don't even know if I can get it out of the bore. You can see that the roller is no bueno. Is not happy. So let me get these heads off now. See, it's definitely going to need a camshaft and a lifter. This one here is eating up too. Got a groove in it. It looks like whoever set up the camshaft didn't do the thrust right because it looks like the cam's too far back in the bore because it's riding on the front of the lobes. It's going to be some parts. Let's get the heads off here and see what we're working with. They never seem to have a big enough catch can either. Did somebody try to clay the pan or something and leave it in there? Dude, it was like crammed up against the oil pan.
What seemed to happen here, sir?
Oh man, this thing's going from bad to worse.
Oh, no.
So it looks like, I don't know why, this gasket got chewed up somehow. And it came apart, but then it all wound up in the pickup. I still can't get that lifter out of the lifter bore. I think I can go down and save the lifter bore. Possibly save the block. We'll see how bad this camshaft looks here. See if I can get to cut that lifter off and have it come at the bottom. Looks like this thing's gonna need a full rebuild. I think that lifter's...
Is it catching it?
Let me see if I can pull it down some more. It's all the way down. Looks like we have to pry that cam up, or that lifter up, and see if it messes up the lobe. The idea of getting the cam out and having it come down is not working out.
Oh, no.
Oh man, that is one angry lifter. Pretty sure that's the noise that we were hearing, metal on metal. I bent this all up trying to break it here to go down, but I couldn't get the cam out, so I had to go up. That lifter is definitely gone. I see right there was rubbing on the lobe. That's the noise we were hearing. Well, let's see what the camshaft looks like now. Let's see how many bad ones there are. So that one there, starting to go. Well, down there's starting to go. And there's a bad one right there. Yeah, that thing all ate off. Wow. Well, we got to take it all the way apart. So let's see what else we find. I was noticing when we were taking the pulley off, something was chunking. Oh, look at that. So thrust is gone in this thing. It's definitely gonna have to come all the way apart. So let's take the rods out here and see what they look like.
12 o'clock midnight.
So here's the graveyard of the block. I decided the block's not worth fixing the lifter bore. You can machine it and bushing it or repair it. It's only a 2-bolt block. It's not, I'm not gonna deal with it. So we stripped it down. This is all the junk. So the block's junk, pan's junk. It's got a kink in the bottom of it. It's just a stock pan, it's chrome. Cam's junk. It's pretty much all junk. So we're gonna.
What are we keeping?
We're keeping the heads. I want to sell the crank rods, pistons, flex plate. So pretty much heads up. Heads up. So we're taking the heads, valve covers, the blower, the intake, all the top end. Obviously the tranny we're keeping. The exhaust we're just gonna cut up and sell the mufflers. Radiator is junk because it's aluminum and it's leaking. You can't fix it. It's like 15 years old at this point. In my opinion, it needs a new radiator. So the headers I'm gonna hang on the wall. The starter we're gonna use, obviously the carburetors. But yeah, we took a big pile of parts and turned them into a bunch of junk. So this thing was never really exciting when it was first built. My dad traded out something for the long block. In my opinion, the guy hosed him. Our path possibly changed again, where we're going to use this in a car that we haven't showed you yet without the blower. But now I think we're going to build it back with the blower. It's kind of back burner to this point though for what we're planning on using it for. But we're going to get it fixed up. So we just want to strip it down and see what we're working with and get that ready. You know, change that around, and yeah, we're gonna clean up this mess. We're gonna trash the block. So you gotta make sure to like, share, subscribe, come back and see what we're gonna do with this pile of parts. See what it turns into. Okay. Come on back. We'll see you next time.